in our country. The poultry sector is rising in the southern part of our country.
Must be a long journey from your undergrad to becoming a veterinary officer.
Everyone expects us to answer that this was a second option subsidized, which we get from the government, the smile on their faces. Veterinary was not a very chosen subject. It was, quite fascinating because we had a tour of our college on that day. We went through certain, from the departments to their laboratories to the farms. We skipped the book reading part.
Reading. Welcome to another interesting episode of Doctors of Animal Kingdom. Today we have the honor of sitting with a veterinary officer, Dr. Radhika Sharma. Dr. Radhika Sharma is a veterinary officer with government of Himachal Pradesh and is currently working as a veterinary officer. Dr. Sharma did her undergrad from College of Veterinary and Animal Husbandry, Bhubaneswar. After that, she did her master's in livestock product technology from Sher Kashmir Agricultural and Technological Sciences University, Jammu. And her PhD is undergoing, and she is doing her PhD from Gadwasu, that is in Punjab. So, first of all, Dr. Sharma, how are you?
Uh, Hello, I'm very good. Thank you for inviting me and having me here with you.
And it's a pleasure to have you on board, ma'am. Thank you for taking out your time for from a very busy schedule. It's
Of
an
course,
honor to have you on board.
it's a pleasure for me being with you.
Now, before we dive into this conversation session, I want you to tell me who is a veterinary officer, what he or she does, what are all the what's the job profile of a veterinary officer?
Uh, Dr. Saab, veterinary officer is exactly not a person who goes through the animals or treating the animals only. Veterinary officer is a person who handles the animal as well as who works for, in terms of animal husbandry and extension services also. The
Right.
job is not confined to the clinical practice only, but taking forward, the animal husbandry sector and allied extension sector also in the field. So
All
yes,
right. All right. Like, if I have to ask, do you remember the very first day of the veterinary school? With that very first day, do you remember that?
of course, why not? Who forgets, Doctor? Who forgets the day?
Yes.
Yes, of course, the day was the orientation program of mine in Bhubaneswar, our Odisha Veterinary College. It was, quite fascinating because we had a tour of our college on that day. We went through certain, from the departments to their laboratories to the farms. Everything was quite fascinating. The bones in the anatomy laboratory, the slides, you know, and then when we went to the clinic, things were quite, attractive to the eyes, and also
Yes.
of course it inspired that further in the further semesters we are also going to reach here. Of course, the
Exactly.
farm areas was also another thing which attracted me a lot because animals, a lot of animals were there. We had piggery unit, we had
Mhm.
goateries, we had dairy sector, the poultry area. So
Right.
everything was quite nice for me.
Must be a long journey from your undergrad to becoming a veterinary officer, and a lot of hard work as well.
Yeah, of course, it had been. Yeah.
As an undergrad student, clinical medicine seems very attractive and majority of them wants to be practitioner. And nowadays specialty medicine is becoming increasingly attractive and it is growing and expanding in India across. What is something an animal science subject or let's say livestock product technologies offers and which should attract the student that they should consider pursuing it further?
Yes, of course. Dr. Saab, when we compare the clinical practice to the animal sciences, we as veterinary students, we all know that India as a nation is leading worldwide in terms of bovine population,
Right.
and we are the first rank nation in terms of milk production worldwide. Around 25% of the milk uh, of the world is being produced in India only, you know. And when we talk about meat, poultry, etc., again our country it doesn't lags behind in terms of the quantity we are producing.
Right.
When we talk about the meat, we are exporting a lot of buffin, the carib beef, in frozen form to the other countries, uh, specifically a little Gulf countries and the neighboring countries, and seventh in terms of poultry. But
Right.
when we compare to the quantity and the quality of the production, we are still lagging behind. There is a lot, but there is not very heavy, or the quality is not as compared to the standards worldwide. So there is a lot of scope when we talk about the quality production. So this thing has attracted me a lot. I thought this, for me, we have a lot of scope in generating the quality products,
Right.
specifically livestock based.
Yes.
We know that there are a lot of farmers, there are a lot of cooperatives in our country. The poultry sector is rising in the southern part of our country, but when we talk about the dairy sector, we cannot export a lot, and the raw milk is mainly consumed in our country. The value addition is not up to the mark. So that thing attracted me
All right.
to
Okay.
opt
So
this subject.
okay, so the thing is, there is a lot of quantitative productions happening in the animal production side, and we need to move a bit more into the qualitative
Quality
production.
production.
All right, so this is something you can do as a animal science expert. You can enrich and you can devote to the field.
True.
Now, do you remember any amazing thing which inspired you during your undergrad when you were in Bhubaneswar? If you had
Oh,
to, if you had to recall anything from your studies, any teacher you would like to, any, what was your favorite subject or something like that?
um, I will never forget to mention two of my mentors, Dr. Sushant Das, who was a professor back then in animal breeding and genetics, Dr. Jasmeet Singh, who was the assistant professor back then in surgery. These two
Okay.
people are the stalwarts of their subject. Dr. Sushant Das had, he went through certain projects in which he generated 2 to 3 breeds of,
Amazing.
the breeds were actually the cross of indigenous non-disruptive into the good breeds brought from the other countries, the exotic breeds, and now these breeds are doing good in their areas. So
Amazing.
he is a very inspiring man. Neeli Ravi was a buffalo, who had, I am not able to recall exactly the name of the breed. I'm just skipping from the mind, but he had worked on breeds and generated certain breeds. And when I talk about Dr. Jasmeet Singh, he is a stalwart surgeon for wildlife, though he's working very nice in pet surgery. But as a wildlife veterinarian, he is a great, surgeon. And these two people have inspired me a lot to work better and better in my subject, to learn it more. And I tell you, Bhubaneswar is a place. The Orissa Veterinary College is a place where everyone, every individual is running book. Everyone is very intelligent and they are loving their subject like anything. So each of them were very, very motivating
Interesting.
for us.
Interesting. Before I move towards your further higher studies and your master's and your PhD, I would like to dial a little bit back before you started your undergrad. Why did you opt for veterinary sciences in the very first place?
uh, this is also a question which has been asked by many, too many, from time and again. For
From
me,
time immemorial, this
exactly,
question is
exactly.
being asked to every
To
veterinarian.
everyone, to everyone.
Yeah.
From the very first day of, the graduation, the very first day in the college, everyone asks, every senior asks.
Yes. Why?
Yes, but for me, uh, to some extent, this was a care for animals. We all knew that animals are in a suffering state somewhere or the other.
Right.
So, a little bit care for me was something that attracted me to this profession. Secondly, to bring a little change, to bring something, to bring a change, you can say. Not, I'll tell you, maybe a decade ago, or maybe 10 to 15 years ago, veterinary was not a very chosen subject. When I joined the services, when I joined the profession, females were not the kind of students who approached veterinary as a subject. So I belonged to not a rural, but you can say a semi-rural area. Not many female veterinarians were there from my area,
Okay.
and I thought, why not opting for this?
Right.
And I had many male people who were into the services, and their line of work was also, when I saw a little, I liked it, and of course, my mind is a kind of a mind which it attracts it attracts the things which are little different. Not everyone is doing, so why not
Right.
opting to veterinary? So it was
Great,
quite
great,
intentional for me. Yes,
great. So you are not someone who just opted for veterinary sciences as a
after
second
medical,
choice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was not the one.
yeah, great.
I was
We
not the
need
one.
more veterinarians like this. We need
Yeah,
more
I was not the
veterinarians
one.
like this.
In my belt, actually, we had a lot. No, I'll tell you, I should share, I think. We have a
Please.
sheep farm, a government based sheep farm just near to my area. So in the winters, those sheep were used to, the people used to migrate the sheep from the upper highlands to
Hmm.
my
Lower
area.
grounds.
So whenever I saw the sheep, I don't know, but certain things attracted me, to those animals.
Exactly.
So I thought, why not choosing this thing as a profession? I loved sheep. I loved animals.
Yeah, with this thing, I'm able to recall my pharmacology paper one Viola. The external asked me why you opted for veterinary sciences. I gave
Okay.
the example. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to because I grew up watching a lot of Net Geo and Discovery, and that is what he was like. "Nee, such tell me the real answer. You are just making." I was like, no, this is the real answer. I am the
No,
first. This was my first choice.
everyone expects us to answer that this was a second option. We had no choice.
Yes, exactly. Not everyone is interested in going for MBBS or any other human medicine course. Veterinary offers a lot more choices than human medicine offers.
Exactly. And in
Now,
initial time, I'll tell you, for people, it was only one perception, one notion was there that
exactly.
veterinarian means he has to handle the animals and there is nothing else to do for him. So
Yes.
yeah.
Now, moving towards your higher education, you did a master's in livestock product technology. What was your research like? How was it? What new things you explored during your research? What was that eureka moment? Ki, oh, this is something new I didn't knew about this field or this subject.
See, livestock products technology is a subject which is related to prepare a food from the animal source. And it is not only the food, but it is actually a value added food. This was a thing which I worked in my research and masters. I prepared a value added product. It was value added because I used certain antioxidants which were natural based to the product, and then I wrapped it with a product exactly which was which was of natural origin, and then I modified its atmosphere, and I did a lot of things to increase the shelf life of that product, keeping the quality intact and vis a vis increasing to its value.
Mhm.
So my product was a product which had good health benefits because of certain things which I added, and then it increased the shelf life of the product for I think 20 days, but increased to up to 20 days. So that was a
Interesting.
moment, yeah, that I could increase the shelf life of the product. That was a thing which I did in masters. But because we keep on reading a lot in masters and in research time,
Yes.
so I thought, why not taking to the next step? Why not forwarding it? Why not exploring more about this? If we can increase to up to 20 days, what else can we do to increase, the quality of the product? Why not do a little more value addition in another way? And why not increasing its shelf life more and bringing to the market?
Great,
Yeah,
great. Yes, yes, exactly. Research provides you a lot of insights, and when your brain starts thinking like that, now what you can do from this point? Why not from 5 days to 10 days to 15 days or a month? Like it is amazing. Research is something. It's a very interesting facet you can explore.
absolutely, absolutely.
When was the time like you did your masters? You went. forward to explore this thing. You went to do a PhD from Gadwasu, a topmost veterinary college, you can say, as of now. What was what was the time when you felt like you need to prepare for the State Public Service Commission? Like, because
Uh,
PhD and PSC both are very demanding things, right? In your PhD, you are running your papers, publishing, researching, right? Doing a lot of things, and sometimes you have to take first your undergrad students classes also. And for PSC, you need a lot of time, lot of subject, state, general knowledge, current affair, and every other thing. So when was the time you felt like you needed to prepare for the Public Service Commission, and how was it like? How was the time management and all?
yeah, right during the doctorate, exactly when I thought that I should definitely try for the commission of my state. Um, See, I knew I had to settle in a particular place, like I'm
Right,
settled in Himachal right now. So I wanted to settle in that particular place because of my personal reasons. And of course, it's not exactly that I have shifted completely to this. Maybe I'm in search of certain opportunities. If I may get an opportunity, I will definitely try to switch again to my own field. But yeah, preparation for this exactly, undoubtedly it needs time. But
and
yeah, so
patience.
that yeah, preparation needs time. It needs a lot of focus, but we have to carry it hand in hand. There is no second option. Everyone knows, like we all know that in the end, what matters is a little stability, a little, you know, a little silence, a little easier part. Everyone wants that because I knew after PhD I have to settle somewhere or the other. Maybe I
Right,
first come first serve was the moment for me. First I found that this is an opportunity coming my way, why not grab it? So as
exactly,
of now I grabbed this opportunity. I gave a lot of time, no doubt. I had to because there is a lot of competition for the state services also.
exactly. It is, and it is becoming very tough to get jobs, be it government or private. So you need to,
Yeah.
if you are getting an
Even
opportunity.
today, after joining the services, I don't think I find a lot of time for myself because it's also a very demanding service these days.
Right,
I
it
can't
is.
uh,
It
I
is.
can't say what was the scenario back then in the past times, but as of today, it seeks a lot from you. It wants a lot from you. So yeah,
It does. It
yeah,
does.
I got an opportunity and I clicked it, thankfully. So as of now, I'm just finding for an opportunity. If I may get a chance, I will definitely try to switch to my own subject.
All right. Can you walk us through your preparation strategy and resources and approach to tackling it? Like, because a lot of veterinarians who want to become veterinary officer, they want to get into State Public Service Commission and get a job of veterinary officer. And it is very much difficult, like when you are in the masters or you are doing any some sort of job, because it's a very time tackling and energy draining thing. So can you walk us through your preparation, your what was your timetable look like, what routine you followed, what resources or any book, anything you followed?
Like I told you, quality matters, not quantity. We have certain basic books in our graduation days, from our graduation days. We have certain what we need is to focus on our basic books. You see, when we talk about animal sciences, we know that the Bible of animal sciences is GC Banerjee. We all know that.
Yes,
So you are pursuing the undergraduation, you know that what are the basic books which we have for every subject. We have a book, and every teacher suggests us that book. Those are the books which we have studied. Our teachers had studied. You guys will pursue. So basic book is a thing. One basic book for every subject. We must go through that. And what our teachers are teaching in our class when they talk about certain things which is the theoretical part of everything, the small questionnaire, the small thing which comes as a multiple question to us in our normal routine exams. We must focus on that. What teachers are asking in the class, what teachers are asking in the exam. My focus was that I went through my notes. I had made certain notes from many books. From every book I had a note. So I figured out what were the important things which I had gone through in my graduation days, through during my examinations. Finally, the output of every book, the headline portions, the underlined portions from the graduation I went through them in my master during my preparation again. And every day after going through 2 3 subjects, I used to solve the questions from many multiple choice books. We all know, we are knowing the multiple choice based books. We know any scan, vet scan, they are the old books. Dhruv Desai was a book I used to go through. And then we had an any scan I had. Everyone is knowing the books about. So yeah, I had another questionnaire from Tanuwas back then.
Ah, yes, from
So,
Tanuvas.
so those were the questions I used to solve in the end of the day. In the morning I used to study a little from my books, what the notes which I had prepared, and then at the end of the day I used to solve the questions. See, like I told you, quality matters, not quantity. If you study 2 books, also, if you study, we have to go through every subject, no doubt. But even just choose the thing which you think is important for the exam, as per the exam perspective. So just focus on that part and go through the questions. Focus on that part and go through the questions. It's not necessary that every question will come in the exam. Every question from the multiple choice booklet is
Exactly.
going to come to the exam, but then it gives you a little confidence when you solve the questions in the end. Old
Indeed,
question
indeed.
papers, yeah, old
Read
question papers from the commissions of multiple states. Everything is available in
available
veterinary
online.
today. Yeah,
Yes,
just try to solve the questions. We can find a little bit from them, a little bit confidence gaining from them. So
exactly.
we should never forget, or we should never skip the book reading part.
Reading.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You mentioned Dr. Dhruv Desai's book. We had the
Yeah.
honor of interviewing him on this
Okay.
platform on Doctors of Animal Kingdom. You will
Okay.
find a link here so you can check
Fine.
out that
Would
interview as
would
well.
love to go through. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the shift of animal sciences. Like let's say you were about to complete your PhD, a total of 5 years master's and a 3 or 4 years of PhD. What inspired that shift from animal sciences to clinical sciences? Because after a period of time, it becomes very difficult to change your streams, like working as an animal science expert and then going into the field as a practicing vet. Now, what were the challenges you faced? Because you are reading all about meat, milk, right? The myoglobin, actinomycin compound, and the another plethora of the animal sciences
Yeah.
thing, and then you forget all the pharmacology, medicine, diagnosis. Like it's not on the top of the mind. So how did you tackle with that challenge or the problem, Seleshi?
Of course, I gave whole 5 years to this subject. I'm just about to
Yes,
submit my thesis. See, I'll tell you, like I told you before as well, that there's a perception that a veterinarian in the field is only handling the animals, but that's not true exactly. Animal science as well as veterinary science in a field where it's life go hand in hand. It has to go hand in hand. I won't say it's a complete shift. It's not a complete shift, because when we talk about a veterinarian's life, a veterinarian's job, we have to deal with the animals, we have to treat the animals, but we have to carry forward the animal husbandry as well extension works in the field. So
indeed.
coming forward with the schemes, coming forward in motivating the farmers, coming forward for treating the animals, and motivating them for generation of their income, helping them. You know, I have been into the touch with my subject too, coming to the field, in a way that we impart a lot of trainings to the farmers as well. When we have OPD, we have to train the people also.
Right.
When we talk about the LPT subject's role in the field, I'll tell you that when I talk about the milk production from particular area, I I have trained certain people. I have a lot of dairies in my area under my jurisdiction. So to those people who are not only the farmers, they are good entrepreneurs also, who are well qualified in business management also. They are running good dairies and good farms, mixed farms. What I did, I had imparted them training, for production of value added products from dairy as well as from the meat. Like
Right.
I recently I imparted a training for cheese production, for preparation of cheese out from the milk of those big dairies, because they were selling the milk as a raw product only. But I trained them, and
How to prepare cheese.
yeah, one of the examples I'll tell you, that there is a farmer in my area who had, there are people who have goats in their backyard. I motivated them for rearing more goats. We had a goatery scheme subsidized from the government, and then his milk production was surplus. And as of today, after motivating him, after giving him training, today he is producing goat milk based ghee as well as
Nice.
goat milk based cheese. That was a part of my job.
Great
So
work. Great
yeah.
work you are doing.
Yeah, and this is the part which I am, running through my, not exactly the products, but we are training them how to increase their the productivity of from the livestock. So, like I told you, it's not a single-handedly clinician's job, but we are running everything hand in hand
Right.
as a field vet.
Right. That's an amazing amalgamation of both veterinary sciences and animal sciences.
Yeah,
Like you are taking the care of the OPD treatment and also telling them how to upscale their livestock products. Amazing, amazing job.
yeah.
Now let's move toward your current position as a veterinary officer and a PhD scholar. How do you manage your day-to-day workload, and what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay. See, veterinary services are designated as essential services, and it's a 24-hour job. Within that schedule, we are running the OPDs. Simultaneously, we are we are like motivating the farmers, whoever is coming to us uh, for queries, for consultations. We are imparting them, little awareness camps vis-a-vis fertility, vaccination. We are running many free vaccination camps. We are running animal birth control programs. This is our day-to-day activity. We are to a larger extent. Sometimes we are giving, like, as of today, we have a lot of pregnancy ration, as we have to the people who are below the poverty lines. We have an opportunity to help them by motivating them and giving them subsidized ration for the pregnant animals.
Right.
So,
Right.
dealing with those people who are little below the poverty line, then, telling them to vaccinate their animals, running schemes, giving them consultations simultaneously with the treatment sector. We have, treating animals in the hospital as well as at times at their doorstep also. So it's a mixed day. Visiting the goshalas, of course, it's another part. So
Nice.
everything is juggling. We are juggling with these many works in one day, from 9:30 to 4. After that, in case of emergency, they have
You
to.
have to stay back. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very tough job being a veterinary officer.
Yes.
All right. Now, on the flip side, like because it's a very challenging job, what are the most rewarded aspect of your work? Like what keeps you motivated on a very daily basis, right? Because it becomes very hectic when you are constantly dealing with all that pressure, right? All these cases, something like that. Then how do you deal? What keeps you motivated?
The outcome, rocks up. The outcome, if a person is able to run a small dairy after my motivation, if a small person is able to sell ghee from the goat based milk, you know and
Yes.
in the end, if an animal has started walking after my treatment, if a
Right.
farmer if a farmer who doesn't have a lot of resources, we are giving him a bag of feed which is subsidized, which we get from the government, a smile on their faces, and imparting them, making them learn more and more, letting them know more and more, create
Right.
jobs. We are creating jobs also by telling them, by training them. So Definitely, this is very, very satisfying at the end of the day if we have done two good things in the day.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Before we move further into our discussion, we asked our audience to send us questions and queries related to the veterinary officer job profile. So, the first question is, can you please give tips regarding general knowledge preparation? I'll say this varies from state to state, and like what were the resources if someone is preparing for Himachal Pradesh or just like in general.
Internet is the guru of all,
Yes,
right?
Pete.
See, we had Twitter. Matlab, I will start from the tip of our fingers,
Mm,
because every time we are having phone, we are having laptop with us, right? Maybe
thank.
many of us may not be agreeing to me.
All
Twitter,
right.
which is now called as X.
X, yeah, Elon
Follow good
Musk.
pages, yeah. Follow all the good pages. WHO का page, uh,
Mm.
you know,
WOH is
D,
there.
yeah, DADH का page हमारी, the government of
Yes,
India is running the page.
Department of Animal Husbandry.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly. FSSAI's page,
yes,
food safety and security. No,
yes.
this is India, our Indian organization. Then we are having Codex Alimentarius का
Yeah,
page.
AC.
Yeah, Apida ka page. Apida, we have APEDA. Just fine. Just you will surf and you'll know about it. The
All
export.
right.
They're telling about the exports from our country.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course ICR ka page,
Yeah.
right? And then we are having Veterinary Council of India ka page.
Okay,
New
right.
things we may be able to explore from them. Everything latest is coming in our hands.
On there.
Every bit.
Right.
Of course, books are the master of all. True, but when we are having phone in our hands, why not surfing it in a positive, in a
Exactly.
good way, in a positive
Right.
way, right? Second thing which I would love to suggest is then reading the newspaper, right?
Mm.
Newspaper, good newspapers are Times of India is a good newspaper, Tribune is a good newspaper, Hindustan Times is a very good newspaper. I used to read them.
Mm. The
Not
Hindu
everybody.
also.
The Hindu, of course, the Hindu, of course.
Yes, it's
Not to
one of
forget.
my favorite
Yes,
newspaper.
everyone's talks up everyone's, because these days I'm reading the Tribune more and the Times of India more, so that skipped out of my mind. But that
It's
was the
all right.
first
It's
thing.
all right.
That was the first thing which we used to read when we were students.
Right.
The Hindu, I'm talking about. Hindustan Times also.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we interviewed an IRS officer, Dr. Aman Bisla. So he recommended these two, Times of India. If you are not in the habit of reading newspaper, then you should start with Times of India because it is very easy to read and it gives a gist. And then you should move towards the Hindu. So these two newspapers were recommended by him
yeah.
for the
Times of
UPSC
India. So
preparation.
Times of India is like, if you ask me, I will tell that this is my all-time favorite. The Hindu was, of course, I used to read it. When I was in college, we used to receive the Hindu 1 day old, the 1 day old newspaper
Hmm.
we used to
Yeah.
receive. But I used to read it. Reading the newspaper is a very good habit. You will definitely learn new things. जब आप एक बुक पढ़ते हो डॉक्टर साहब, तो that is a limited thing that will be limited to one particular time period. When we come to newspaper, everything is recent, from every day, reading to every day. So that is the thing we should definitely opt for. Besides that, there are good books of general knowledge of current affairs. Every current thing, every latest thing is a thing to learn.
Yes.
Because purani book mein to everything we will find definitely, but in the new edition of every book is the best thing to read out. So,
Okay.
following the Instagram pages, the Twitter pages, the newspaper, and books.
Indeed.
Yeah, these are the
Okay.
good things to, if you want to enhance your knowledge.
Now, this next question we have, what types of problems you are facing in the field as a veterinary officer?
The problems which we face is dealing with the people of different backgrounds.
Mm,
Not every
okay,
person is a qualified person. Uh, Not every person is a farmer.
right.
Not every person is a mediocre. Not every person belongs to a middle class family. Everyone has a different background, ethnic background. So convincing them is a challenge.
Mm,
convincing
Exactly.
them, letting them know uh,
Why it is important,
the
right?
barrier at times,
Right.
because conversation becomes a key, and we have to learn. We have to learn the way they are speaking. We have to understand the way they are speaking. That is also, it's a challenge.
Exactly, exactly. It is very important. Like I am from Uttarakhand and right now I'm in Rajasthan, so it becomes very difficult to understand what the very native people are saying, like Marwadi and then
Yeah,
some very hardcore Rajasthani, you can say. So it becomes
exactly.
very difficult, right?
Exactly. Second thing I would like to add is the lack of diagnostic tools in the field.
Yeah, we cannot run always
Not,
diagnostics, right?
it's not true also that we don't have. We have it. We actually, every state runs a polyclinic in district level.
Yes.
We have zonal hospitals, but in specific hospital, not every time we are having good diagnostic tools. That is also a thing which we find as a challenge while treatment and diagnosing a disease. Yeah, these are the two basic challenges.
Okay. Now the next question is something which I feel like which should be addressed. It is, I feel like coming from a very emotional thing. Will I ever regret choosing veterinary? From class 8 standard I heard about veterinary and benefits of this field, but I'm always in doubt, am I risking my future with this field?
No, it's never a risk because veterinary gives you a lot. It gives you a wide scope. It's not confined to a small thing. It's not confined to a clinical practice only. Like I
Right.
told you, we have animal sciences, we have animal husbandry, we have extension services, and we have treatment.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only this,
Yes.
we if we divide veterinary into species, we have plethora, as we have named this doctors of animal kingdom. Right. You can also treat non-human primates, right? It's a vast thing. You can
It's a
go into
vast.
research. Right.
If
So
you'll ask me some initial challenges when I dived into veterinary, you know what? Because multiple species reading is the USP of our subject.
yes,
Getting into the anatomy of every species was a major challenge for me, you know.
it is.
So gradually, I liked, reading different species. When we talk about, like you yourself told that we have a specialized medicine these days.
Yes.
You know, so when we talk about specialized medicine, we are already giving a lot to, the species wise practice. We have canine practice, we have feline practice, we have
Alignment.
bovine practice. Everyone is having their own, choice of thing which people are going. We are into gynecology, we are going into surgeries of different between amongst
Ophthalmology is
different
there,
exactly
oncology is there. Right,
exactly
so there is a lot of things you can do.
we have a lot of
Orthopedics is big.
of course we have pharmacology. I'm telling you,
Yes,
pharmacology is itself is a broad subject. From the veterinary pharmacology you can dive into a normal pharmacology, general
pharmacology.
pharmacology. You can go into from microbiology, you can go to general microbiology. Food
Right,
microbiology is a subject which we have read in our subject. uh, Now, parasitology.
yes,
Parasitology is general parasitology. We have protozoology. We have, entomology.
Moji, yes,
Hematology. These things are, human people like the human medicine. In human medicine, people are reading these subjects. We are only reading it as per the veterinary medicine.
veterinary.
We
Yes,
have an advantage that if we want to switch it, if we like a little part of the subject, if we like the veterinary part of the subject, why not diving into the general subject as a whole? Why not? Why not
exactly.
exploring the research of these things? If I talk about genetics, I told you like I had a mentor of mine who had created
Yes,
Neeli Ravi. That was a type
cross.
of that, yeah, the good, beautiful breed. There was a beautiful breed from Odisha. I'm just keeping the name, though. Yeah, matlab, see, creating a new breed. Wow, not a medicine person can do it.
No,
True, na? And then
yeah,
increasing the productivity of that animal from maybe 6,000 liters per lactation to 10,000 liters per lactation. You see, And then like when we talk about the management, why not managing it is in such a way, why not increase it through the research? We can
Right.
increase the productivity through management. When we talk about the livestock products technology from these many animals, जहाँ उनकी productivity increase हो गई है, we are adding to the product of the raw product, we are adding the value to the product, we are increasing the shelf life, and we are bringing to the market. Now, livestock
Right.
products technology, if we talk simply about this, we are in alignment to the public health, to the veterinary public health, to the zoonotic diseases.
Yes,
My minor subject was public health, and in itself is a broad thing. So no
it
one
is.
is going to regret if they are coming to veterinary science.
Exactly.
India mein to we are having a lot of scope. Abroad is giving a hype of opportunities to our people, to the veterinarians.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah,
And talking about the risk, you'll need to take risk, be it any field, anything. You need to bet everything on that thing, and it's a risk, right? You cannot like go and see the future. Okay, this is going to be successful, right? So you'll have to take the risk, and you'll need to bet your gut on that thing.
true.
Now, moving forward to another question: is it better option to do private practice or become a veterinary officer?
See, the choice is yours.
Right.
Being a practitioner on a private level takes a lot from you. Coming to the government sector also takes a lot from you. You
From
can't
you.
sit idly anymore in your job
Right.
in government sector also.
Exactly.
Government sector is
Exactly.
giving you a good job, you are having a good reputation in the society, you are a class 1 officer, government is paying you handsome. I think it's
Mm,
sufficient for me. But if a person likes to if a person
spend,
likes
yeah.
to be an entrepreneur,
Mm,
try if a person wants to run his practice, his way of treatment on his own, and he doesn't want to carry forward animal husbandry practices or extension works or animal sciences, he can definitely move forward with his or her private practice. Why not? Like I told
exactly.
you, we have a lot of things to explore. Why not coming
Yes.
into the favorite part?
Yes. Either you can, instead of going to private or government sector, you can become an entrepreneur. We need more of entrepreneur
True, the
from
government is
veterinary
endorsing. The government
medicine.
itself is endorsing.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Now, what all are the other option in government sector for veterinarians other than the veterinary officer post?
Like I told you, the government of India these days, it's giving a lot of opportunities to everyone. Firstly, so the government is giving good opportunities as an entrepreneur. I'll tell you, there is a scheme. Just a few days back, we had on 26th of November exactly, we celebrated the National Milk Day. On that day, the government was giving the government was rewarding actually certain people for being a best farmer, for being a best practitioner, and there were few other things also. So if you are practicing, you can also be awarded. You can be
Right.
given subsidies if you want to be an entrepreneur. So there are many schemes. On the other hand, like I told you, we have FSSAI, Food Safety and Security Council of India. Like uh, it's so if I talk about my subject, we can try opting that. We can try taking this as a job in FSSAI. Yeah, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. I think
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. Food inspector, if I
yeah.
am right.
Yeah, we can go into that. Back then I used to read in the newspaper that the Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, was also offering certain jobs for veterinary officers.
Even now, one of my seniors, I guess, like from my professor, he went into via UPSC. And there is ASRB, Agriculture Scientist Research
Exactly,
Board, is there.
exactly.
They do that.
The government is taking direct scientists into their, into the government-based organization, and these people are running it. These people are taking research to the next level.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so many of my friends are also into ASRB. So
Great.
yeah, these are good options. Besides that, we have a lot of private sector. We can go for the jobs. We have a lot of slaughterhouses run by both government as well as private sector. So we can go for
Yes.
that. Besides that, we are having semi-government dairy sectors also, in which people are doing job right now. We have Beka in the northern India region. It's doing very good here, and many of our
Okay.
veterinarians are also doing job in that. That is a semi-government organization. We have slaughterhouses in I think in Chandigarh also, in UP also, which are run by the government, and there are certain semi-government based slaughterhouses also.
Mm,
Yeah, so many of these things the government is giving good options for us. Besides that, I think the organization in our government sector is also giving opportunities in terms of, when they are giving under a DBT also, they are giving certain projects to the scientists who can opt for the projects, and they can run the projects on their own. So the government is giving the aids to the scientists to run those many research based products, the projects, research based projects, DST, DBT. So these are the departments which are run by the government who are giving many opportunities.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a better idea to do PG after getting into government job in service PG, or should try for PG immediately after UG itself? What's your say on this?
See, definitely the government sector as a veterinary officer, you require only the graduation. That is true. But pursuing the masters is not a bad idea for anyone. Exploring the subject more is always a good thing. Our universities are giving good job opportunities also as an assistant professor, like I told you. These are
Yeah.
the government based organizations. We have private based organizations also, in which people are trying to get jobs as assistant professors. They are project managers, they are research associates, research assistants. So I think these are the things which one can think of.
Exact. Okay. Now, apart from being a veterinarian, you have other creatives as well. You are a poet and a writer as well. When did you started writing? When was the time? Any inspiration, any writer or like favorite you remember, any poet?
If you ask me the favorite poet of mine, firstly, I'll talk about Tulsidas. We all know that he's a renowned saint. If
Yes.
someone will read his poetries, besides the religious aspect, what I like the most is the way he wrote, the language
Hmm.
he wrote, and the emotion he had while he wrote. Understanding the emotion was a favorite part of mine. And then, of course, my favorite author is Paulo Coelho.
Ah, great.
He's a Brazilian writer, a marvelous writer, a perfect author, I can say, a writer of many, many books. Everyone, one or the other person, has read The Alchemist of his, which was, the book that gave him a license of
The
being an
name.
author.
Yes.
It was his marvelous work, the
Mm,
masterpiece of his. So after
yes.
that, of course, reading him made me write more and more. Not
Great.
only these two writers and poets, reading in itself, reading newspapers, reading literature, reading small leaflets, pamphlets, everything what we read gives you a
It gives you back.
motivation. Yeah, it gives you motivation to write, and that reflects
What
in your
what
writing.
what are you reading these days? What's your current read?
My current read, I'm having a book called Rebellion 1947. He's a beginner writer. Uh, I just know him through sources, and then I started reading him. His book is available online, so I have been
Okay.
reading this book since almost like 10 days. It's a big book, so I have been reading that. I like the raw part of that writer. He's a new writer, and so
Okay. Great, great. Any book you would like to suggest our audience that they should must it's a must read that inspired you a lot?
The Alchemist is the only and the first book which has inspired me to read more and more and more. That
Okay.
is actually a little, what we say, some people find it a little boring, but for me, it was a philosophical thing, a life changing thing. I read it when I was very, very small in my school days. Back then,
Okay.
understanding that book was a little difficult for me, but gradually I read more and more about that book, and then I loved that book.
Right.
Beside him, Taslima Nasreen is a very beautiful writer. She writes a little feminist based things. She's from Bangladesh, and one must
Okay.
read his her book called as Lajja. I read it when I was in my college days. That's a
I
good
guess
book.
I guess I heard the name of this book. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
if I
Taslima Nasreen.
don't know recall the author, but I have heard the name of this book.
Yeah. Then we have Nicholas Sparks is another writer. Many of his books has been you know taken up by certain filmmakers also.
Okay,
Yeah, The Notebook was
great,
one of
great.
them.
Uh,
Nights in Rodanth was one of them. You must read the book because film is a small adaptation of any book, but the book
it's
becomes
your imagination,
exactly the imagination which goes through the nerves when we read.
right?
Watching is just watching and forgetting, but when
Right.
we
It's
read, it
it's
gets into the nerves.
Yes, it is the depiction what the director or the producer is has thought of that
True,
movie or that piece. When you're
true.
reading it, you are in that. It's your creation. It's
It's
how you have developed
absolutely.
the protagonist and the antagonist and the
It's
other
exactly
side
understanding the
elements.
author, the understanding the
E-
author. And
Exactly.
also, see, I am a big nature lover also. Nicholas Sparks, he depicts what the surrounding is, what the nature is. So he writes more about the European, outlanding European outskirts of an urban area, of a city area. So that is really, really nice. Except for that, like I told you, Paulo Coelho's Brida, and then
Prida, yes, yes.
yeah,
By
by
the
the
river
river
Pedra,
Padra,
I
I
sat
sat
and
down
cried.
and wept.
Yeah,
Veronica wanted to
Veronica,
die.
yes. 7 minutes, 7 or 11 minutes, I don't
11
know.
minutes. Oh wow,
11.
it's a beautiful
Yeah.
book. It was a beautiful, beautiful book.
I,
Yeah,
I remember I remember the cover. There is a lady with her hand on her waist and she's like this
yeah,
on a
it's a
red carpet.
beautiful book. A beautiful book.
I remember the
Then
cover.
Paulo Coelho's The Pilgrimage is a really, really scholarly. It's a little scholarly. It's a little boring for many, but it's beautiful, philosophical book.
Hmm.
Pilgrimage.
I
And
I
then
guess there is one book by him, Paulo Coelho, The Hippie. I guess it's the
yes,
name.
yes, 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 yes. There is
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
The one book is The Hippie.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
like to suggest you another book. Uh, it was based on a dancer from the World War Second times. I'm just
Okay.
forgetting the name of that book. The dancer's name was Mata Hari. I don't. The Spy, exactly. The book's name is The Spy. I would suggest
The
you to read that book.
Spy.
The Spy. A
I
beautiful book.
guess there is a Netflix document. Is it about a Syrian or a Israeli spy? He
Not Israeli, but she was from Brazil, I think.
okay,
I read it
she.
3 4 years back, 4 years back maybe.
Okay, it's a she. All right. The
Yeah,
spy I
so
was
she was a
suggesting,
woman,
like,
and no, not Brazilian, but she was a French spy. Yeah, and it is
yeah,
and it is based on a true story. So it's a beautiful book, a beautiful book. Yeah. Besides that, there are many. Yes, I would not forget to mention one book from APJ Abdul Kalam's writing was Wings on Fire.
yeah.
That was another book which has changed me completely. These are the two books. One is The Alchemist.
And now we are start on the spree of suggesting books. I will also suggest you some books. Wait, let me
Please
grab
do
them.
it.
You should read the which
The
one?
Daily
The
Law.
Daily Law by Robert
Okay.
Greene and The
Yeah.
Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. These two are my go-to books.
Really,
You
I
should
will
also
get the
read them.
reference for sure, for sure. But my
Yes,
suggestion is to read The Alchemist and Wings on Fire by Abdul Kalam. It's a beautiful, beautiful book.
great. Now let's move toward we are coming to the very end. Few years down the line, you used to write as a columnist for a national newspaper. How do you select your topics? How do they often tie back to your work or research?
Mainly, the subjects which I opted for writing was based on my own subject. I
Okay.
have written on the zoonotic diseases, and that was published in a state-based newspaper from JNK.
Okay.
Then I have written many articles in the food magazines.
Mm,
Yeah. Recently, I gave a talk, in fact, on rabies because it is a zoonotic disease, and the subject is a little allied with my subject because I had this. public health as a
Health,
minor
public
subject.
health.
Yeah, so that
Yes.
was rabies was a big thing, and I gave a little talk, and so that was another topic for me to write. Uh, Another was the clean milk production for the farmers as well as for entrepreneurs. I gave a
Right.
talk, and then I shifted it into writing, and then I gave it to a magazine, and then to a newspaper. So mostly the things which were related to my subject became the part of my writing for magazines as well as for the newspapers, which were actually helpful for the reader. Yeah, so that's why that way I did.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now we are coming to end with this session. Any suggestion you want to give to our audience so they should remember during their undergrad, postgrad, and their preparation throughout this journey?
First thing is focus. One should never get into the turmoil of our mind. One side the mind says I have to go do that, the other side it says I have to do that. Therefore, the first thing is focus. Second thing is read to study, read to learn, read to learn, read to learn. Reading is the only key of everything. Learning, reading to learn, reading to understand is the key to everything. Reading to know more, reading to opt to one thing or the other is the only key to everything. So there is nothing to bother much if you read
Indeed.
and learn.
Indeed, indeed. It is very important to read. And you said some very philosophical things like don't get it focused and don't give to the turmoil of the mind. These are very important and heavy things. And as a veterinarian, or even as a person, even if you are not a veterinarian, you should learn these things. And you should keep yourself grounded. So,
Exactly.
and thank you for your interest in veterinary medicine. Signing off.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.